Hi, Kenny. Hood Rubino, Devil's Digest. I know with such a stout running back room, you don't have to put too much pressure on Sam Levitt probably in any given game. But was that really the thinking coming into his first start at ASU? Because the offense obviously was balanced almost to perfection. But what was your thinking as far as the game plan and how it materialized on Saturday night?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you'd always love to be balanced. I don't know if it was about Sam. I think Sam he's a high learner. So yeah, even though he's a freshman in there, I don't think we tailored the plan to say, hey, let's protect him. You know, we threw the first time we had an open field. I mean, we had the ball in the plus 38, which you can't really take too many types of shots. But the first time we had an opportunity to throw it deep with him, in the second possession, we chucked it deep, and he threw a great ball. So we're not playing scared with him, moral of the story. Like, we're going to be aggressive with him. The flow of the game really didn't dictate that we had to throw the ball downfield a lot. But the plan was to throw the ball downfield a lot. Just the flow of the game is going to control what you actually call. And I think Coach Arroyo called a great game just playing with the flow. I didn't think we were going to be able to run the ball at that high of a percentage.
And just as somewhat a follow-up question, just the helmet communication, both offense and defense, now that you guys went live, how do you think that process?
Yeah, I thought it was really good. I thought both sides of the ball did a really good job communicating. You know, I harped that don't talk too much. There's a balance. The kids still have to play football. They can't be hearing you talk when the ball snaps, so give them vital pieces of information. If there's something important, say it in a concise manner. And I think one thing that helps us there is the people who get talked by their specific position coach. It's not a coordinator talking who coaches DBs talking to a linebacker, a linebacker who's a DC talking to a DB. The verbiage is extremely streamlined, and that was something I wanted to make sure we did, is make sure the person whose headset's on is talking to their actual position coach on both sides of the ball. That way there's no lapse in communication. I thought it was smooth.
Chris Cartman, Sun Nova Source. Kenny, rewatching the game, what did you take from it that built upon your initial impressions, or maybe were different?
Yeah, I thought you could see the guys play hard. The guys play with a passion. I mean, we can see that. A lot of little things. I know it's so coach talk, like, oh, you lose, what are you going to do? You're going to motivate your guys, tell them how much better they can be and all that. We played a really, really good game. Like, we played one of the better first games I've been a part of personally, right? But even through all that, we misaligned. You know, we have a punt PBR that we're trying to do something specifically, and our guy aligns a half yard too wide, which allows their guy to release faster, and it ruins our entire punt return. I mean, our shield's turning too much in the punt return game, and you know, if I'm Mississippi State, I'm gonna try to block it. Like, they watch the same film I watch. Like, I would try to block it too, right? Because the little things are wrong. On offense, sometimes our splits are wrong. We missed a few MDM blocks. Like, there's so many things to get better at. That the challenge of the guys was, like, in the meeting, it was, okay, I'll give you guys your flowers, and then, like, I'll tell you the mistakes that I made, and then let's go fix the mistakes that we made as a team, and let's move on. And I mean, we beat a team we should win. Like, we have some talent on our team, and we beat a team that we should have beaten. And don't get caught up in it. Like, let's move on.
Hey, Kenny back here. How much does a win like that, though, from the 30,000 view, help confirm what you guys have been preaching and talking about for the last year and a half in this program?
Yeah, I mean, our guys have given such great effort. I know I keep harping on that, but such great effort in practice. Like, they're really trying to do what we ask, which is hard for a team, a lot of new guys, to really, like, buy in. But the buy-in from the leadership council has really transferred over to our football team. And to see the success, you know, it's easier to buy in more when you see success. It's really hard to buy in when you don't have that success. And so I think it was big for our guys to be like, man, maybe playing really hard and physical and all these hard practices, and the fact that a practice workload is a 570 and our game was a 465, and we practice harder than a game is, maybe all that stuff actually makes sense, right? Whereas it's harder to sell that vision unless you have the success. So I think the first week showed what it can be, but nobody signed up to play one game. I mean, like, if we work that hard for one game, I'm in the wrong deal. We work too hard to play one game. So can we respond to that, and can we continue that level of work ethic and that level of passion? Passion, like that word, passion. Our kids are passionate. Does that passion die because we played well? Or does that passion just get stronger and stronger and stronger?
So quick follow-up to that. Now, how do you refocus now for Mississippi State this week with the guys?
Yeah, we've never beaten an SEC school. Our SEC, we've never won an SEC game. I think that's one. So we have a chance to do something that the school's never done. And I think anytime you can do that. Two, regardless of, I mean, the same people who are talking about how we played really well are the same people that picked us dead last. Three, you're never as good as you think you are, and you're never as bad as you think you are, right? So get off your high horse. And success in our program is being the very best at whatever you're currently doing all the time. Like, let's go be successful again this week. And that's the message. That's the vision. And this is a really good football team we're about to play. Coach Levy's one of the best offensive minds in college football. He brought over a special teams coordinator from New Mexico State. That guy was a part of the best season New Mexico State's had in a long time. They brought over a defensive coordinator who was trained by Nick Saban. And even though he's never called defense, you know, he's from that pedigree. So when you're talking Levy, who's from the Lane Kiffin offensive tree, a defense coordinator who's from the defensive tree of Nick Saban, and you're talking a guy who was just at New Mexico State as their other coordinator, you're talking a really well-coached football team in year one that just won by 60 points. And I don't care who they play. You beat the Kenny Dillinghams of Scottsdale, Arizona by 60 points, right? That's impressive. And we got a tough team against us.
Noah Furtado, son of a source. Cameron Scottaboo spoke Saturday about how the effort seemed to be sort of a culmination of how much the team has improved, especially since last season. It seems there's a confidence there. Do you sense that, especially among the guys who are back that experienced last season, that there's really some forward momentum?
Yeah, I think there's the standard is the minimum standard for what it looks like is higher. And I think our best players, I mean, whether people like it or not, you know, you see Cam on the first kickoff, sprinting down the field full speed, pancakes somebody, runs them over, right? Right next to him, okay? We're running down the field, somebody else pancakes somebody, runs them over. Their guy pushes our guy back on the first play, and we walk away. And it's right then and there that you know, hey, we have them. You have them, right? 2 plays later, McLean's in the same spot Scott was, runs down the field, they get a personal foul. It's not an accident that happens. It's not an accident. It's when you play the game violently, when you play the game with aggression, when you play the game hard consistently, some people can only respond outside of the framework of the game. And that's when you know you have somebody. And I think from the first kickoff, when Scott made that impression that we're going to play our best players and they're going to set a mindset that this is the next 60 minutes, I think it just puts a little bit of whoa. And we want to continue to do that.
Hey, Coach, Jordan Ham, Sports 360 AZ. Can you go into the decision to give Kona Pete a carry on Saturday?
Yeah. You know, he's done a great job for our program. Him and his family are really important to ASU and ASU athletics. His brother's a high school coach out here. Awesome guy. Their family's born and raised here. He's one of the family members who chose to stay in the state here, which is pretty cool. So we got an opportunity to hand him the ball, have a little excitement for the family, being a local kid here. And it was great. I think he got 0 yards. So that's a positive for us, right? 0 for 0 is not bad for a center.
And then, sorry, real quick.
I can't comment on recruiting.
No, 100%. On the sideline, did you see any tangible differences having tablets of, you know, players being able to recognize certain trends or anything like that more in real time?
Oh, 100%. Like, I think I said it after the game. It's 3D chess now instead of chess. If you're reacting to what you're seeing on the tape, right, you're a step behind because they see it too. And now more than ever, you've got to know what their counterpunch is before they counter. Otherwise, you're a step behind. And if you call your entire game off the tablet, you're a series behind on both sides of the ball. So you got to know what they see and how they attack what they see. And it's 3D chess more than it was in the past when you don't know if they saw that you brought a 3-end loop game away from the back and that's the guy who made the play and they're confused and their offensive guard says one thing and their center says another. You can run it again. Well, when they see it and they can coach it and they have an answer, right, that's when you better be ready to counterpunch before they give an answer.
Obviously, Kenny, the players came into the game plenty self-motivated. You talk about the buy into the culture, but I have to believe also the second highest student attendance since 2010 probably helped the players maybe kicking into an extra gear, especially in the second half. Game's already out of hand, and those players are playing just as hard as the opening quarter.
100%. I mean, I think it's really cool. I think Arizona State has over 40,000 new students this year. I believe 17,000 of those people are true freshmen, right? And I think it was a record 9,000, something like that, a record for in-state student enrollment at Arizona State. So I think all of those things and the excitement with Graham and the athletic department, what they're doing to hype up is a huge advantage for our guys. And our guys run down the kickoff, and we defer, and we get to run down to that student section, and they have to start on their own 25-yard line, and that student section is roaring, right? It's an unbelievable feeling, and that's the challenge for our guys, for the students, is you're a part of this, and we want to break the record. I want to have more students that's ever been in a game. I want you guys to be a part of the first time Arizona State's ever won an SEC game. Come be a part of history, right? Let's pack it out from the fans to the students to everything, and let's make this the best environment in college football this week.
Hey, Coach. Ryan Myers, Devil's Digest. How did it feel to see Jake Smith and Zay Van Alford on the field for the first time in over 1,000 days? And what did you think of their performances on Saturday?
Yeah, I thought they both played well. I mean, I think the leadership of Zay shows up. He gave our motivational speech pregame. He's way better than I am. So we'll probably stick with that as long as he's got, more speeches in him. But the way the way he carries himself is something that I've been around a few times, but it's very rare, the leadership style that he has and the command he has. And then Jake, I told Coach Roy I want him to touch the ball in the first 4 plays. I want him to get his feet wet. And he caught a screen. If he catches that same screen today, I think he scores. He got a little excited. But the way that he could just go and naturally pick it back up and play was awesome. I think both those guys, I gave them both game balls because they're the definition of battling and adversity, 1,000 days without playing and just working. So those guys were 2 of the guys that got the game ball.
Hey, Kenny, Arizona's family. Can you just kind of touch on late after the game on Saturday about the youth of Sam and how it's going to take time for him to still at least get some reps and still at least get some more time in game? How has it been at least beginning to at least process scheming against a guy like Blake Shapen, who has a whole lot of experience in college football at Baylor and now transitioning to an SEC school? What have you just seen from his play and what he did last week?
Yeah, obviously that system is super quarterback driven. He came from a drastically different system. So this is a big change for him in terms of the style of play, the freedom they give their quarterback. They play at such a high tempo, very similar to the Rams with Jared Goff back in their Super Bowl year. They get up on the ball so fast, they're going to have 15 seconds to talk to their quarterback, 20 seconds sometimes to literally for Coach Levy to play quarterback in his ear. And even though it's game 2 in the system, they're going to be able to see our defense. They're going to be able to communicate, have a conversation with Coach Levy, and then Coach Levy can help get into good plays or not. And this is the first time I think he's been in a system where I know that's this free. And I think you could see how the success he had in this first week because it's free, and I think it fits his style. He's a plus athlete. He can make all the throws. So I think the combination of him and Coach Levy are why they put up 60-something points.
Yeah, Kenny, you have SEC in your coaching history. I got in late. You may have addressed this already or may not have. I'm just curious, when you saw your journey through Auburn and SEC football, there's a perception out here that the SEC is the biggest and the best and all of that. I'm wondering what you took from your SEC time, and do you see that coming out here to the west part of the country, or is it just that's a culture they grow up in?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just they're smaller towns, so that's what do you do on Saturday? There's not many distractions other than college football, and I think that culture is why the kids play so passionately down there. There's a lot of passion in their play because that's what everybody talks about. Nobody's talking about the Diamondbacks, nobody's talking about the Suns, nobody's talking about the Cardinals. It's Mississippi State Bulldog football. Like, it's go time. You are the celebrity. You are everything. You go to a restaurant, they know your name. So I think that's the difference. It's just there's more pressure because of that in the South on kids, and not in a bad way. And then there's a lot of people who are very passionate about their football because it's what you do in the South that time of year. I think that's what we're trying to build here. I think Tempe, Arizona had that. I think there was a time where this was what you did. You came to ASU football games on Saturday. That's what you did. Like, that Saturday is ASU football. And I think with the student section, we're going to break the record this week. Like, we're going to do it. If I have to, like, enroll 12 other people to break it, they're going to break it. I think that's the culture that we want to bring back here. Is it's so fun to be at an ASU football game, the excitement that our players feed off of it and that they know it matters. So I would say that's what we're striving for here.
What did you take from your time there?
I just took that. I took the everybody's so in. It's not like people just show up on Saturday and are excited. It's like everybody's in all the time, 24/7. Like, it is all about sport. It's all about football. It's all about during that season. It's all about basketball. It's the athletes there, the school there is the community. And when you think of Tempe, I think of Arizona State. That is that, right? And I think we can create that here even though we're in a big city because this wasn't always this big of a city not too long ago. So that's what I took from it is just the passion that people have about their teams. Like, it matters. It ruins their Saturday. Absolutely ruins their Saturday. And I think that's the pressure that I want to eventually have here is I want to build a team that people expect to win, right? And they expect that. And that's going to take some time. But that's the expectation I want to have here is a standard where people aren't okay if you don't win football games.
Hi, Coach. Daniel Rios, State Press. So you guys have added a lot of new faces on the defense, all three levels of it. Now, after seeing the game and watching the film, the past couple of days, anything that's really surprised you and, how they've kind of gelled together this offseason?
No. I mean, it was kind of what I anticipated from that perspective. They communicated well. The people who communicated well. The guys who have good game film from their prior schools played better in games. So not really. We didn't face any adversity. And that's really what I'm hoping we get. I mean, we need somebody to beat us and catch a home run post. We need somebody to run over our linebacker and somebody miss a tackle. We need somebody to blow a coverage. And I want to see how our guys respond to that. Until we have adversity that somebody beats us and a mistake by us and see our guys respond, I truly won't know where we are. I know we're talented. I know we have the ability, but the ability to respond is still a big question mark in my mind. And the ability to trust in big moments is still a question mark in my mind that we haven't had answered yet. So those are the two things that I'm still waiting to see. Hopefully they never happen, but let's be real. They're going to happen, right? I just hope it's one play, not 12, that it affects.
Hey, Kenny, Jake Seymour, Sun Devil Source. After you watched the film now, digest it a little bit, in Levitt's first career start, how do you feel like he did, and maybe what were some things that stood out on the film? Yeah,
played well, played poised. One sack, I'd like to have him not take the end of the first half sack, understanding that, we're trying to win the middle eight there, and we don't need to take sacks, just throw it away, throw it at the feet of somebody, we'll run the ball, kick a field goal, go in half, right? Let's not make this field goal any longer. Other than that, he extended plays well. He knew when to use his legs. He had good pocket awareness. He got smoked and got up a couple times. I mean, on a naked bootleg, they just took him out. And, he got up, smiled. I mean, his brother was a safety in the NFL for a while, so he has a little bit of that in him. I think he kind of likes it. I told him, I don't want you to get hit, but he kind of likes it a little bit. But I think that toughness is part of the reason why he's here today.
In the very back.
Yes, Coach. What are your thoughts on former Sun Devil Ricky
Pearsall?
Pearsall, yeah.
Yeah, so, sad. That's the thought. I reached out to him. He hasn't gotten back to me yet. He probably doesn't have my number saved. But I recruited him to Oregon when I was there. Unbelievable kid, unbelievable family. Obviously from here. Local kid, awesome to see local kids succeed and the success that he's had in his career here and at Florida. And now he's in the National Football League, and for that to happen is sad. But, it's just a lesson to everybody that don't take things for granted. And, he'll be back. He's a tough kid. He didn't get to where he was being under-recruited and being under-recruited into being a first-round draft pick by quitting. So I don't know him that well, but I know kids that are wired that way usually respond at a high level, and that's what I expect from him, even though I really don't know him.
With Mississippi State's defensive coordinator being a first-time play caller, what are your thoughts there, and what did you see from the team?
Yeah, so obviously all year we prepared for odd weak side overhang / 4 down in the offseason because that's the Nick Saban simulated pressures is really popular in that tree, right? So we were prepared for that. We heard some D linemen went out, so we're like, okay, that fits the odd weak overhang world. They got a lot of linebackers, so this makes sense. And then they come out in their odd 5 techniques, 3 high safety, which is the only thing that coaching tree hasn't been in, which is like, okay, well, we've checked every box but the one thing that they don't or haven't done in over 10 years, and now they show up and do it. To me, I'm not going to get carried away in the one game of film. I know the identity of the coordinators, where they come from, and if you can be an odd 5 technique team and move a linebacker down to defensive end, right, when you're in 4 down, then you can easily be an odd 4-eye team and make that same linebacker a weak side overhang. So we face so much 4 down in practice with our defense, and our defense blitzes more than, green grass, that we don't need to see much 4 down. So we just have to prep for odd weak overhang, odd 3 high safety, mix in some 4 down looks, but we've been seeing that for a while, 4-2-5 defense. So we've got to really prepare for the odd 3 high safety, the odd weak overhang, and I think that's what the majority of what we're going to see.
Hey, Coach. Aiden O'Neill, Walter Cronkite Sports Network. You talked about throughout fall camp the depth of the running back room, but I wanted to talk about Jason Brown Jr. in particular in the fourth quarter, providing a spark plug in a game that was kind of monotonous at points.
Yeah, I hope it wasn't monotonous for our players, maybe for the fans. I still lose my mind, right, because it doesn't turn off. Like, the end of the game when, they drive down the field and score at the end, well, yeah, none of our starters defense were in the huddle to start the drive. They were all there talking to each other, and then they get mad that they gave up a score. Yeah, well, y'all weren't in the huddle with them. Like, they were with you the entire game, so they lost their energy. That's on you guys just as much as on them, right? But with Jason Brown's conversation, he ran hard, and I said it in one of the scrimmages. After a scrimmage, his balance is what impresses me. When you're a running back that plays with that pad level or that height and that weight, you have to play behind your pads, and you've got to have great balance in order to be good. And I think you saw both those things out of him, and it was a spark plug for our guys. It did get them excited if it did get monotonous. But if that's monotonous, I love monotony.
Damon Allred, Arizona Sports. I know some coaches like to scheme more to the matchup than others. How do you balance what you want to do versus what Mississippi State is presenting?
Yeah, you always got to find the best plan for both. You can't say, oh, this is the best thing versus them. We're going to start running 13 personnel, and if they want to play odd, we're going to be in 13, 14 and run the power. Like, that's not what we do. You can't change that. But you have to find ways to fit your scheme that best attacks what they do. And every good offensive scheme has ways to attack things naturally. You've got to be able to attack them and in ways that they know how we're going to attack them. Everybody knows nickel teams get put formation or the boundary. Like, that's not a rocket science thing, right? That's just what everybody does, right? So if you're going to do certain things offensively and attack certain ways, they're going to know it. It's how do you do what you do, and then mix in new ways to attack a team that they haven't seen that's a little bit different, because they know how you're going to attack them. Most good defense coordinators will study you enough to know that. It's, do you out-execute your plays, identity plays, that you're running versus their scheme and what you feel like is an advantage that they know you're going to do, but what other plays do you add that are a little bit outside your scheme that keep them off balance? And if you can keep them off balance or keep an opponent off balance with the new things, it distracts them from what you want to do. And I think that's the key to running a good offense, is having enough balance from new stuff and old stuff that they know what you want to do, but they know they still have to stop this, because you can just run it 4 plays in a row if they don't. And I think that's kind of the cat and mouse game, and I think Coach Arroyo did a really good job of that this last week.
And Coach, overall, obviously defensive line got pressure, but just your thoughts of, the secondary, obviously finally game situation, but defense line able to get pressure, but just your thoughts of how the secondary played overall.
Yeah, we tackled well. I think that's what I was most impressed with was we tackled well. We've had a physical camp. I've been in there and I challenged the corners a few times and the DBs a few times of like, if I played us, I'd cut the splits, I'd MDM the safety, and I'd run on a corner every play. Like I challenged our guys because there was a point in camp I would. You have a 170-pound corner and you have a 180-pound corner. Like I'd cut splits, I'd MDM, and I'd run on corners. Good luck. And I think those guys showed up and they played physical. And I think that response throughout camp that they took the challenge and it showed up on game day is pretty cool because we did play physical at corner. There's 3 or 4 plays in the game that's like, whoa, that's a corner. And I think that being our identity, and like I said, going into the Wyoming game, their identity is play smart and play tough. And I said, that's the identity we need to have. And that's the identity that I keep talking about. And I think we showed those 2 things from an identity standpoint. And hopefully that's our identity now. And hopefully we can continue to build on that identity week in, week out.
Doug Franz Unplugged. Following up on your answer to scheme versus opponent weakness, you hear fans in media all the time say, he got out-coached. How often does that really happen?
I mean, it happens. It happens. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say how many times, but there are definitely people who put their players in really, really advantageous, that's a big word, positions. My wife will be proud. So will President Crow as a grad. But there are definitely coaches who do a really good job of creating numbers, leverage, and grass. And then there are some people that say, we're going to out-execute. And we run these things, and it's about execution. I'm definitely more in the piece of I want to give my guys as big of an advantage as I can. So I definitely think it does happen. Does it happen as much as people say? Probably not. Players win games, and like I tell our guys, effort wins games. Like if you're smart and you just play really, 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 really hard, and then you don't turn it over, you're going to win pretty much every game you're supposed to. I mean, it does. If you play that hard every single play, you're hard to beat. It doesn't matter what you call. Utah is one of the simplest defenses in college football, and they're the best almost every year. Why? Because they play so hard, and then they know how to complement certain things. They know their weakness, and they know how to fix it. But they just play really hard over and over again, and they play smart. And I think if we can continue to build that identity of, yeah, we're going to play aggressive, we're going to scheme you and have great schemes, but I don't want our identity to be we trick you. I want our identity to be we hit you, right? And that's 2 different thought processes.
Hey, Coach. Adam Keenan, Inferno Intel. Bobby Hurley and his team, Willie Bloomquist, both at the game, you've talked about activating the Valley and really getting this city to rally around ASU athletics. What did it mean to see both of them there?
Yeah, really cool. I don't know if Coach Hurley was there to watch us. He may have been, and I hope he enjoyed the game. But like I said, I can't comment on recruiting, but I don't know why he was there. But I don't know if he was there to watch us. And then Coach Bloomquist, I mean, he, as an alum, I mean, he shot me a text for the game. He's fired up. We're both trying to do the same thing. We're both trying to bring our programs back as alumni to be as successful as possible and make the state proud, make the school and the alumni proud.